Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to share my process and my workflow around making the main theme for a track. And I'm going to use the track that I already used for several videos and that you guys liked a lot. And the end result is something sounding like this. As we all know, making music is really fun, and in general, playing around in the DAW and playing around with the synthesizers and printing out as many ideas as possible is really nice and beautiful and really enjoyable. But finishing up the tracks can be really frustrated. While we start making music, dropping the kick, bass line, blah blah, so we are playing around, and in general we are printing out the ideas, and this process is really enjoyable as we just jam around and try to find out the ideas, and we have insane amount of possibilities what we can use, and in general it's a really enjoyable process. While finishing up the track, it means that we already worked on certain track for quite a while, so we can get bored of it. And also, once we start pulling it toward the end, the responsibility is going to rise up, and it can provide certain feeling that we don't want to work on that. We're going to start a new track maybe because, again, we're going to get back on that really comfortable zone where we just play around and there's nothing that we can do wrong. While finishing up the track, it means we start making the final decisions. So for this part of the job, you need to have responsibility, also the courage, not to say the balls. But finishing up the track, I saw that many of my super talented friends not having this kind of the last part of the puzzle, and this is finishing up the tracks and pulling them out, is something that's holding them from actually making the good career and spreading that work which they do really good. We do believe that if we are kind of tough on ourselves, that our music is going to be better. But I'm giving you my promise, this is not the real case, and it doesn't work like that. I tried to record the video last week about making the arps, and I worked in a completely different project, and once I was recording video and doing the arp, I made a really nice progression that I kind of like. And in that moment, while I was recording the video, I got the idea that this theme will be perfect for this track, so for the other track. This is how it works. We don't get to decide when this moment is going to happen. This is how I see it, as I had this idea and this kind of the thoughts about the creativity, which is based on my experience. After reading the Rick Rubin's book about the creativity, I fully agree with him, and I did have the same thoughts as he has. As Rick Rubin says, we are just the antennas, and I do believe that we need to be relaxed. We need to have the enjoyable moments. In order to do that, we need to pay attention on our emotions. Once we are making music, once we want to be creative, we shouldn't have any negative emotions. And I do believe these are the stress, these are the, say, obsessions, like, and pushing yourself. Like, I've been in the position so many times, like, I need to finish this track. So this is something that I said to myself, and I did make a pressure on myself. And every time I was pushing myself, nothing happened. Every time I completely surrendered to it, and if I completely ignored all the ideas about the possible outcome after that track, the best tracks came out. I was so obsessed when I was young. When I started making music, I knew straight away, like, the ambitions, I want to be this, blah blah. So I was pushing insane amount of pressure on myself, and I did make a lot of music. So I did release an album, I did have several releases back then, and nothing happened. And then I had this moment of surrender, which wasn't easy at all. I'm extremely stubborn person. I cannot accept that I cannot do certain things. So this is period when I had a project Beyond Ecliptica. I was making a full-on whatsoever. I did release an album. I got 1 gig in Greece, and that was all. Nothing happened. So I tried to get rid of the music. I wanted to quit, and I found a job, and mine was on a different place than it was for a years back then. And in that moment, I started making music for myself only. So what I did, I was just making the music for myself without any ambitions, without any goals. And these are the first tracks of the E-Clip. And many of people who are following up my work, they do believe that this is my best work. And I also believe this is my best work, as it does have something deeper than it has today. And what I'm doing currently is I'm trying to bring myself back to that. So this is why I'm making the videos, which is I have a certain other things in the life to do, because I honestly believe to make a great music, we need to be released of all the stress and all the negative emotions that we have. So if you have time and if you want your music to be better than it is today, I honestly advise you to Google Rick Rubin and find out his book. I forgot the name right now, but I think it's the only book he wrote so far. And also there are tons of the podcasts that you can see him, but he's gonna say the same thing. And I honestly believe that the book is the best thing for all of you. I already explained I was working on a different track. I made the ARP and then Cosmic Flow track. I'm just gonna play a bit of it. So this is, for me, already enough to finish up the track. I have the main theme on the break, and after that, I'm just gonna go with the flow. For me, the most important thing is that what's happening on the break and this kind of the part of a track where I believe we are making the point. Let's say the high energy of the track. It doesn't need to be energy, but let's say the high emotional part. It all depends from what do you want to achieve with your music, and not necessarily all the types of the music has this, but my music and the music that I make always had this. I like the melodies, even though they can be dark, they can be light, it really doesn't matter, but they have this point. They have something to be remembered by. I'm not trying to make the music to be remembered by or whatever. I'm just gonna go with the flow with it, but this is something that I like. When it comes to the melody itself, I came up to the certain points. The track is in A, but the track that I was working in when I made this melody was in F sharp. So I came up to like F sharp, C sharp, and D. So in that track I had something going only like this. And this was the only thing that was going in that. So it was like something like this, but I think it was even for the octave above. So something sounding like this, like. And then I decided to like make a certain progress of the melody. I really like doing that. And if you listen to my Shuma album, I did a lot of this and I did play a lot with the arps. And I do believe they have something super trancey, super hypnotic. And I do believe that arp can transfer the emotion at the best as one of the sequences that can do it in the best, especially if you are looking for similar type of the emotions that I create in my music. So what I did from that point is I wanted to make a certain progress. So what I like to do usually is to find a key root note and then do a small transpose. This is something that I call small transpose. So I will try to have a few notes that are close to the key root note, and then I will slowly extend it. I must mention that this melody that I made already sounds familiar to me. I honestly believe this is one of my tracks that I did like 10 years ago. No, even more than 10 years ago, like 12 or 13. The first Eclipse tracks from Shuma. Something, as I do remember, I was doing the same thing back then. So this is A, E, and F. So it's going A, E, F, E, and then it goes in a circles. So anyway, what I did from that point, I wanted to start slowly. So what I did, let's say for the first one, I just transpose it all the way down, and it's A, B, and C. So. But somehow it's too sudden from this point to the next one. So I did have another transpose over here. So what I did, I moved this note all the way to the E, which is the perfect fifth. And then I brought the second one to the C. So it sounded something like this. And then for the last part, I moved it, the upper note from the F, I moved it to the G, and in the last part, I moved it back to the A. So. And then of course, I have something sounding like this, which is the same. And then I did have a certain accents. If you don't know what accents are if you want a certain part of the melody of the track to kind of make the accent on, and that you want to kind of amplify it a little bit so it can be heard better, then you will take only that part, which is kind of the accent, and move it to another channel or do higher velocity. So you're gonna set them to be a bit different, a bit louder, a bit more energetic, or any other way that you want to do it in order so you can saturate it a bit better. So what I did, I just moved it. I deleted all other notes beside this, the highest transpose notes, like. So I did it in several layers. Okay, so then I have something that's kind of stronger that I want to like amplify the whole, to make it a bit more leady. So it's a combination of the arp and lead and everything. And then I have only the key root note, which is A, and then I have for the 2 octaves and above that all these accent notes. So there's A1 and then C3, E3, F3, G3. So. And then another layer of it, and all together they sound like. matter. So I want to put the filter on the drum group. But anyway, I guess it's all about the ups and downs. So. So in general, I really hope that you like this video and that you learned something. And if there's anything you would like to say, write down in the comments. So thank you very much for watching and see you soon in another video. Thank you very much. Bye. Ciao.